So we can start it and you can cut it in before,
Yeah,
right
whenever
here.
you're ready to go.
Okay, so let's see, best place to kick in.
Kick in, just
Talk about improving the squat.
Yeah, so go in right after, you talked about the flow of the foot.
Okay, all right. So basically this was created to enhance the squatting pattern, both the way that we squat and the conventional squat, and to enhance your coordination and strength for ground loading.
Love it.
So that's the rationale behind it.
So, I mean, how many people watching have actually done a squat on their toes? I mean, and if you do, you're probably doing it all wrong from what everyone tells you. And now David, here he is, an inventor, just a student of the body, is saying, hey, we're going to teach you how to squat on your toes on our new ball.
Oh, actually, it's just,
not the toes, but the ball.
Just behind the toes and the lateral aspect where it's the true ground floor, so metatarsals, and not be quad dominant.
There you go.
Not be dominant through the knees, but to capture the power of the posterior and what we affectionately call the haunch. We want to launch from the haunch, balance through the balls of the feet.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, and it works because I've been doing it, and you end up getting so much more strength and coordination and balance and power from where you need to get it. And so it's just awesome. And then all the other components, flipping it over.
Yeah, you can basically do any exercise that you can do with the original, you can do with the elite. It's just, again, one provides more resistance and is firmer, and one provides a lot more instability. And so there's a lot more subtlety and nuance of all of that articulation through the joints in the feet, for example. Yeah, we also have a version of a push-up that we call the compression push-up on the elite, that where your intent is to crush to the center, try to pop it, which you'll never do. And that gives you this center line strength, and it's incredible for enhancing your ability to sprint and run, and incredible for someone who wants to learn how to bench press more, so we can prime the bench press.
Right.
And the primer squat here will add load to your bar for squats, overhead squats, the snatch. Basically anything that relies on that squat pattern is instantly improved with the priming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you're going to step on it for 3 minutes, what would you do on your BOSU ball?
Okay, what I like to do is I like to get on it, close the eyes, go through what we call the Zen 10, where I just get in tune. I'm down regulating the protective reflex, I'm relaxing, I'm feeling everything and really going inside, so that when I come to the ground, I have a better sense of connection to the ground. I have a better internal sense of where tension is, where relaxation is. So as an athlete, I can really regulate that and boop, boop, drop and pop with extreme speed. Next thing I'll do is the primer squat. So I'll really set that pattern where I'm balancing the extensors and the flexors, and I'm deepening the position, and I'm learning to do that all through the balls of the feet. Right? And I'm engaging the adductors in a way that helps them flex and extend the hips as well. So that'll be the next thing. The next thing that I will do is I will jump rope on top of it. So I'm getting the ballistics, and the rope gives me the timing, and I'll even get to double unders. I'll do it with my eyes closed because I've had a lot of practice on it. And that gives me this incredible sense of connection of my center of gravity through my base of support, so I can precisely put both of those exactly where and when I want them to maintain that relationship. And then the last thing that I'll do on it, well, not the last thing, but the next thing is the core exercises, just 3 basic core exercises that really involve bracing and then training the flank. So I'll do those. And then the last thing I'll do is that compression push-up. And then it's on to whatever I'm doing. So that is the precise sequence that I use when training with the BOSU Elite.
Awesome. All right, now you know what to do.
Right.
So tell us about some of your other inventions that I've had a chance to train with. The newest one is the RMT club.
Yes.
And so tell us how you came about this whole product, and what are the benefits from it, what's inside of it, and how do you work with this thing?
Okay, so basically club swinging is as old as humanity. So the very first tool / weapon is either a stick or a stone, and you sort of combine the two, you get a club, okay? And this ability to articulate the spiraling motion at the distal extremity is something that's unique to us as humans. We can grasp a stick and we can create long leverage and then incredible speed with it. A great ape can't do that same action. So they're more restricted to this position here. They can't put it here and get that articulation of pronation to supination, which allows us to win in the fight. Okay, that's how the smaller, more intelligent creature can put the bigger, stronger creature in a cage, right? And then if you light it on fire, an elephant will stand down. So club is primal.
Right.
It's the most primal form of exercise that we have. And I've been swinging clubs for more than 20 years, all shapes, sizes, weights, etc. And this one didn't exist. So this one, what makes it special is a combination of features. So it has this soft club head. So it's malleable, and that gives me the ability to not have fear of striking. And as a matter of fact, our MMA fighters will actually bone up the body using it. Inside this club head is a steel shot that shifts. So when we decelerate the club, if it's a mass all solid, I can't put on the brakes as fast. But because I have this shift, I can slam on the brakes and then experience this pulse of power. And athletics is speed, power is speed, so we get that. It also gives us this ability to be very fluid with it and get that tactile feedback and that audible feedback for how fluid you're going. For example, if I go slow, it'll make sound. If I go fast, it'll be centrifugal and out. So I've got that, and it allows me to learn more complex patterns faster. I can teach it to someone where it would take X amount of time, it's X minus some factor when I teach them with this versus a conventional club. And because of all these properties, now I can strike the club. So if you have a padded surface, like our MMA mats or a heavy bag, you can strike with this thing full force and do all of these sort of complex recoveries that gives you many more reps per unit of time than a sledgehammer or a mace. It's much safer, and I can really focus on that coordination of that spiraling movement. So if you're looking at training, it's the best club on the planet for training to get this non-dominant side. When you're training with a club, and we use one club primarily, we have this or this. One feels very natural, the other one feels very awkward at first. So we're constantly going back and forth, and you see you have this relationship to the center line that is asymmetrical. So the non-dominant side now has to be the driver, and the dominant side now has to play the role of the non-dominant side, and that very Dean Brittenham-esque, right? This ambidexterity principle.
Right.
So the more you train that, the more holistic you become in terms of the connection of the brain to the body, the more sort of surprise successes you have athletically. Like, how did I ever do that? Well, it's because this new baseline of continuity and balance throughout the body, right and left. So it gets very metabolic if we want. We can teach people low cognitive skills where it's like takes you an instant to teach it. They can do it right away, and we can get as complex and integrated, as subtle as you want. It could take years to master. So we say every client, every session, and it doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete, doesn't matter if you're a housewife, this thing is an incredible training tool.
Definitely. Now, what's inside it? Because you hear the sound of it, and the counterbalance of weight and acceleration, deceleration,
Yep.
the eccentric strength that you build. What is inside of it to create that?
So it is literally a steel shot that looks like little BBs, and that gives us the weight and that shifting dynamic that, like I said, you get that very fast and powerful pulse from eccentric to concentric. And the audible feedback, the tactile feedback of, okay, yes, it's chambered and that's where it is, okay? That you get that sense of timing, balance, rhythm, and then getting similar on both sides, for example. So the steel shot is an integral part of it inside the club.
Fantastic. And what are the weights that you offer? What are the weight ranges of the club?
Yeah, so we have a 2 pound, 4 pound, 6 pound, and 8 pound. Every 2 pounds makes a huge difference because we're talking about leveraged weight. We designed the handle to be as light as it possibly can be to really magnify that leverage effect. And every 2 pounds is a huge difference. The 2-pounder we'll use some in therapy or some sports-specific stuff for pitchers and things where they're going to go very fast against light resistance. The 4-pounder is our workhorse. Anybody can train with the 4-pounder. That's the one that we recommend. If you're going to buy one, it's the 4-pounder. 6 pounds is for when you're getting a little bit more continuity in your patterns. Your patterns are very strong, and so you're applying greater resistance, so you can sort of move the 6 at the speed you could move the 4 because you're getting coordinated. And then 8 pounds is, I mean, that's a lot of strength. You can't move it nearly as fast as you can with the 4, but a lot of strength keeps you very honest in terms of, like, if it's here, it's doable and light, but if it's here, now you really feel the weight of it. And 8 pounds, because it's really about speed and fluidity is how we train with this. 8 pounds it's as much weight as we could fit into it while maintaining the dynamic property. If we were to put 10 or 12 in it, it would no longer be shifting like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How much martial arts background do you have with the figure 8 movement systems and all the flow that you do with the club training?
Quite a bit. So I studied several martial arts, and then what I'll call the root of martial arts. I did a lot of training and do a lot of training with a rope, where I don't jump through the rope, but I learn all of the other patterns that you can do with the rope. And this idea of, I've had amazing teachers through the years as well, and most people are restricted to what's called an A-frame, where they have this positioning. And what you want to do is you want to develop the center line ability to create the V-frame, because now I can cut to the center. And anytime I'm about to be flanked, I can now cut inside to the center and reestablish control of the center. And so it's how, like, I will play around with an expert, like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and their feedback will be, wow, you're the most functionally strong guy I've ever rolled around with who doesn't train jiu-jitsu. So they will ultimately win in jiu-jitsu if I'm doing it with them, but it will be several minutes of, you know, real delicate chess, you know, where it's like the fine-tuned, like, oh, you thought you had me. No, you don't. Like that type of a thing. And it all stems from that integration of these spiraling movements, the subtlety of supination and pronation. For example, if you're gonna throw a punch in boxing, it's very much a pronate. You have to pronate and snap it because it's all about speed. Uppercuts are supination. That's the way that you get the power, right? And a hook can either be souped or prone. So and I have this thing called a core fist, which is an arrangement of the hands that creates a stronger structure for a fist. So when I take what's called the distal interphalangeal joint here, what happens is if I crunch that in and I'm not holding onto an object, I will ultimately fail structurally if I keep closing it, and the wrist isn't stable. But if I take that last digit and I straighten it and triangulate everything to the center, now that becomes incredibly strong from a bone skeletal standpoint, and the wrist is fortified incredibly. So that's, let me see your hand real quick. So I'm going to just put it in real quick. That's the center, that's there. Spread the thumb as far as you can. We take this into there, wrap the thumb, and then wrap the pinky, and just feel what you have in your hand there.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like holding a wrap of quarters.
Yeah, exactly. It's that roll of dimes that you don't need the roll of dimes. It's because you now have like something that's extremely substantial.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. That's new.
Yeah, that's new, and that's what I'm most excited about right now is what we call WEC method running. So this is launching January 7th, 2017, and without bragging or boasting, I believe I'm the world's foremost expert in the subject of locomotion and running. I've had enough time and exposure and study and then application. There is a hidden secret to running fastest and most efficiently. And currently, conventional wisdom teaches against this secret. But if you analyze the videotapes in slow motion of every single great runner, they all obey this rule. And the experts, guys like Michael Johnson, famous coaches, all coach against the cue, but you actually want to do this. And once you understand that there is an objective that you must do if you're going to run the best, and it all revolves around balance, if I must do that, now I can take every arrow in the quiver, training-wise, and point it at the target. Whereas if I'm coaching against this cue and doing other cues that many of them are nonsense, now even if I hit, I've missed the target. So these running philosophies of fall forward, or pull with the hamstrings, or shorten your stride, or keep your shoulders level. I mean, it's a bunch of blind leading the blind. Those are all terrible cues for running. So we're about to change the game for running, and I'm still keeping it secret right now, but I tremble with excitement. When I invented the Bosu ball, I had a gut feeling that this is going to be global, here forever, This running, WEC method running, is the same tremble.
So where will they be able to learn about the WEC method running? I know the method, and so you shared it with me, and it's awesome. And so want everyone to be able to have access to that.
Yeah, so basically WECmethod.com is where you'll go to find out. It's not on the site as of today, because we're sort of building that, and it's all top secret. But the running clinic, the very first running clinic here in San Diego at our WEC Method Performance Training Center, is January 7th, 2017. And we've already got signups from people in India, all over the United States. So it's going to be a great group of people. And I don't care if you're an elite level runner, or even if you don't run. If you're a personal trainer who works with clients, the foundation for functional movement is gait. It's locomotion. It's the most functional activity that we do, aside from things like breathing and eating. Those things are more functional. But walking, running, locomotion, you do it every single day of your life. It's movement, and it's the foundation. And once you unlock the secret, now you get better carryover to everything. Throwing, punching, hitting. You want to increase the power through your tennis? Learn WEC method running. You want to be a better personal trainer for your clients?